If you're looking for a special relationship, but you struggle with porn addiction, it's likely that the need you have for love and connection is being drowned out by the compulsive urges to go back to porn and its ugly stepbrother, masturbation. Ultimately, this leads to isolation, loneliness, and shame. I'm Dr. Trish Leigh, certified brain health and sex addiction recovery coach. At the core of a porn addiction is something called dopamine dependency. Inherently, it's an internalized drug addiction, and it has four very distinct components to it. I call them the dopamine drip, deluge, drowning, and deficit. So, what happens is porn makes you feel really good just before, during, and just after you consume it. That's the drip that gets you moving towards the deluge or flood, which inherently creates a drowning, a desensitization of the dopamine receptors in the reward center of your brain. So it numbs you out and it makes you feel good for the moments that you're consuming porn. But inherently, that desensitization makes it so that you're in a dopamine deficit when you return to your life. And you know what that means? You feel more anxious, depressed, unmotivated, angry, irritable when you're not consuming porn. So, this internalized drug addiction leads to a dopamine deficit. So, you go to porn to offset negative feelings to feel better, and inherently it makes you feel worse. So, many people don't know that at the core of porn addiction is the dopamine dependency that leads to a dysfunctional brain performance pattern. Porn is shown to damage the structure and the function of your brain. What that means is it can get stuck in a pendulum effect. This pendulum effect makes it so that your brain is running fast and then it's running slow. It has lots of dopamine, it has none. So, this pendulum effect leaves you feeling anxious, stressed out, and then overwhelmed and exhausted. Inherently, porn's going to pull you in because it's what's known as a supernormal stimulus. It gives your brain more of dopamine than healthy levels would dictate. So essentially, you're getting excessive levels of dopamine. Dopamine is known as the molecule of more, motivation, and pleasure. So you're motivated back for more pleasure in the screen. Porn's going to pull you in, the dopamine deficit is going to push you. Now, what's at issue is that if you're motivated back into the screen, you're not motivated to go into the world and put the work in that's necessary to, first of all, establish a healthy relationship and then build it over time. So that desensitization in the reward center also desensitizes the reward pathways that lead from the midbrain up to the frontal lobe. The frontal lobe is the area of your brain that is controlling executive function. Executive function is organization, planning, it's being able to get small drips of dopamine from the small wins on the way to the larger goal. So in this case, it would be you get a small drip of dopamine from coffee with a potential partner. Then you get a little more dopamine from dinner with a potential partner. And it's moving towards larger but still healthy amounts of dopamine from building an intimate relationship, which includes healthy sexuality. So if your brain's motivated back into the screen, it can be very difficult for you to be motivated to go into the world to find a healthy potential partner. We know that motivation decreases with a porn habit. So, this can lead to social anxiety. Many people who consume porn struggle with something that's called cognitive affective distress. What this means is you feel more emotional distress. So, what science shows is that neurological dysregulation Dysfunction in brain performance leads to emotional dysregulation. So now it's difficult to calm yourself from within, and it necessitates going to that external stimulus of porn and masturbation. Unfortunately, the more you go back, the more social anxiety you may have. So now it's even more difficult to go out and to meet a potential partner. We also know that porn induces unrealistic fantasies. So, in porn scripts, it seems that when you meet a person, inherently they want to have sex with you. So now you meet someone and they may not seem that into you, but that is an unrealistic fantasy. That's not how a healthy relationship or a healthy sexual relationship develops. The way that that develops is there may be lust there, but an emotionally healthy partner is going to want to get to know you before they have sexual relations with you. So if you're watching a lot of porn, your perspective on healthy sexuality becomes distorted. We know that this also leads to self esteem issues in porn users. So people who consume porn frequently feel worse on the inside, cognitive affective distress. But we know also that there's decreased body image. So you feel worse about your body and worse about your potential partner's body because you're looking at idealized bodies within pornography. So there's self esteem and body image issues that lead to sexual dissatisfaction. Science shows that porn use leads to being less satisfied in a sexual relationship with a partner. So inherently, this can damage or destroy a potential relationship before it even starts. Not only that, the unrealistic fantasy in porn can make it so that your perspective is distorted towards one of sexual narcissism. What I mean by that is that you take an egocentric view as to seeing other people as objects for your sexual pleasure. In this case, when it comes to porn use, sex becomes about getting high levels of dopamine. Remember, dopamine dependency. So now it takes on more of a performance perspective to get the highest levels of pleasure from dopamine. And in doing so, it loses sight of the sexual experience in a connected way with a partner. That is known as the happiness trifecta. So when you have a healthy sexual relationship with a partner, your brain releases healthy levels of dopamine, albeit at lower levels than porn, with serotonin for joy and happiness and oxytocin for connection. This happiness trifecta is what bonds you to a partner. So, inadvertently, when you go back to porn and back into the screen for high levels of dopamine, now you've linked yourself to pornography and masturbation, essentially high levels of dopamine linking you to your screen and yourself. That can impact your desire and your ability to get out into the world to meet a like minded partner. So we know also that the supernormal stimulus of porn, we know it's giving your brain high levels of dopamine. I call that the easy button. Basically, you click a button and your brain gets a flood of dopamine that numbs you out to make you feel good. What this can do is lead to an easy button lifestyle, meaning that now there's no need to go out. You're happy to stay home because you're getting high levels of dopamine without having to work for it. In terms of sex, you're doing it with pornography. You may be doing it with food, with gaming, with social media. Your brain can get dopamine, high levels of dopamine in many ways without ever leaving your home now. That can demotivate you from going out and meeting someone. So, this social anxiety plus this easy button lifestyle, it may make you think that you're never going to find a partner, or maybe even that you don't deserve one. What can make this even worse is that porn use is known to contribute to and exacerbate sexual arousal dysfunction, which I call SAD. Sexual arousal dysfunction includes erectile dysfunction and delayed ejaculation primarily. So now you might be thinking you're never going to find a partner, and sexual dysfunction will make it even more difficult for you to do so. This may make it challenging for you to think about having a partner that you may have to tell about your porn addiction or tell that partner that you struggle with ED. All of this is stress provoking, which contributes to the autonomic nervous system dysfunction, neurological dysregulation that is at the core of a porn addiction. So, if this sounds like you, I want you to know millions of people all over the world are struggling with porn addiction, and it's impacting their ability to date and to find a special relationship that makes them feel good. I want people to be able to find that relationship so they can be happy and get back on purpose and have the life that they deserve. So I want you to know there's hope. Where the problem lies, so does the solution. So if the problem is brain dysfunction because of porn use, the solution is giving up porn, which may not be all that easy, but leaving porn, rewiring your brain back to healthy levels, maybe for the first time ever, and then hardwiring that pattern in by learning how to regulate your mood from inside and not needing to go to high level dopamine supernormal stimuli to make you feel good. Because we know a porn habit is instant gratification, it's short term gain, long term loss. When you rewire your brain from porn, now you can see the long game and you can go out into the world, find a like minded partner, and ride off into the sunset. If you want more information or if you want help leaving porn behind, please visit drtrishleigh.com. And as always, control your brain or it'll control you.